short time, the campaign, the presidential campaign was occurring, everybody concentrated on it. So all the activity that occurred has been very spontaneous, and they were very much involved at these conventions. That's where they've learned a lot of lessons. But I think things, if we're worth our salt and the philosophy is worth anything, and we are truly talking about revolutionary changes, this momentum will continue, and we will have a greater presence and a greater voice, not only in the Republican Party, but in the policies of this country.
Congressman Paul, would you, if you had your druthers, would you be giving this speech inside the hall at the Xcel Energy Center instead of over here across the river?
Excuse me, if I could
would you rather speak, sorry, would you rather be speaking at the Republican National Convention as opposed to speaking over here?
Well, under the circumstances, probably not. But we offered our services. We would have been, glad to have an opportunity. We would have been pleased to participate. We would have been pleased to, attend the rules committees. And that wasn't available to us. And of course, we're pretty good at responding to that type of treatment because, during the presidential campaign, there was a few times they just said, "You're not welcome." You have these strange ideas of limited government and balanced budgets and following the Constitution, and we don't want you here. Like on the eve of the New Hampshire primary, Fox was having a press conference. A debate. Oh no, you're not allowed in here. So we went and had our own program, and another time in Iowa, early on, to set the standards, we were excluded. So we went and had a big rally, bigger than what they were having. So we tend to roll with the punches, always trying to be very, very positive and not disruptive, and that's why we're here. We want to present our case in a very positive way and not worry about what we didn't get. Instead of complaining about the media and complaining about the party, we have still enough freedom in this country to get involved and become the party. And that's been our approach rather than complaining a whole lot.
Okay, just one quick question about one of the ways in which to express some of the things that you brought to the table is through the mechanism of the election. Do you think you'll be, at any point in the near future, giving support to Bob Barr, who is out there doing this, or are you holding out for some possibility that delegates will hold on to your...
I don't foresee giving any marching orders to the supporters. Mainly, it's not my nature, and that's a personal decision, so there'll probably not be a personal endorsement of Bob Barr, although I've strongly encouraged him to do what he's doing. I think he's a good spokesman. I think he'll probably get more votes than any other libertarian candidate ever had. But I also am very sympathetic to the Constitutional Party. Chuck Baldwin is a good friend, campaigned for me. He's on many ballots. He represents our views, and people should pick and choose the candidate that they want to vote for. But I don't foresee endorsing a particular single candidate.
Dr. Paul, Dennis Roddy of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Okay.
With the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, your hometown paper. Two-part question here. You've told us why you're here, but really, where do you go from here? Does this become a separate third-party movement? Does this become a wing of the Republican Party? How do you turn this into something with a concrete result? And with that in mind, are you planning to go to the convention in the nearby town?
Okay. No, this is not a plan to start a third party. And it's really not a plan to be a small wing of the Republican Party. It's a plan to influence, if not have a lot of control of the Republican Party, philosophically speaking. And that to me is a lot different. It's a shame in this country that the third party movement is so hindered by the rules and the laws. I've tried it before myself. It's harder to get into debates. You can't really get in debates. Harder to raise money, harder to get media coverage. So the system is very biased. So if you come to the conclusion, which many Americans have, that the two-party system is really a single-party system, there's really no choice. So therefore, it's a serious problem. So starting a new party right now certainly wouldn't be my goal, but to bring the truth to the people and let people understand this and why a vote may well be wasted voting just for the lesser of two evils. Now, as far as the other convention goes, we had thought we would be able to go over, but my floor privileges have been strictly limited. And over the years, as a Republican congressman, I've been elected 10 times. I always got floor passes. I could go and come as I please. And they've given me a pass, which is second class. They said, sure, you can come to the floor, but we will keep your credentials. We will have you come to a certain door. You can come in and you will be chaperoned. And when you leave, we'll take your credentials away. And they have not allowed me to bring any staff with me. So that's a bit of a slight, you know, and I don't know that much can be achieved by doing this. And I guess if you were a disgruntled loser, you would do that and try to gather up people and demonstrate and do all those kind of things. Instead, we decided to have a grand and very positive rally.
So you're not going to go?
Right now, I'm not certain, but probably not, unless they, see, they had told us we would have passes for 3 staff people and that I could go and come. And now it looks like they've reneged on that.
Congressman, from American Free Press, Mark Anderson, this really fits into what you're saying. What's your opinion of the current ballot access laws in each state that the Republicans and Democrats dominate in setting those laws and administering those laws, which have that very effect of keeping alternative parties and candidates? It makes it more difficult for them to get on the ballot in the first place. What is your view on that? Is that maybe something your supporters can work on, and that is to knock down those barriers so we have equal access to these ballots, no matter what your party?
Yes, and a lot of that is state law and should be handled at level. We have worked in coalitions over the years, and more so now, working with parties from the left and the right, whether they're libertarians or constitutionalists or Green Party or Independence Party or whatever. So I would say that is very important. There are some things at the federal level, especially if there's federal funding involved, then we would have some jurisdiction, because I would be very cautious about federal legislation mandating. But one thing that we might think about one day is, why do the 2 major parties, which are essentially one party, why do they get a total of $33 billion to run their conventions of taxpayers' money? That is hardly very fair.
Dr. Pasha Derkowitz from Freedom
Where are you?
TV. Right here. What do you think that the Campaign for Liberty will do for this country that you may not have been able to accomplish as president?
That we may not have what?
Have been able to accomplish as president?
Well, the Campaign for Liberty really is looking at long-term and philosophic positions. I mentioned, say, the issue of monetary policy. Nobody's talked about it. So if we didn't do anything other than that to bring that to the forefront, it is crucial. It describes the business cycle, inflation, and all the problems with the financial bubbles, the NASDAQ bubble collapsing, as well as the housing bubble. So that, to me, would be a major issue. And if you can take that issue and spread that out among hardcore political workers who are going to grill every single candidate on this issue, it could be revolutionary. But in the same sense, what about a foreign policy? The foreign policy that George Bush used to talk about when he ran in 2000 of not policing the world, no nation building. I mean, this was great stuff. He won on that. And what if we really taught people to defend that from a very patriotic, pro-American, pro-constitutional viewpoint? That, to me, is what will change the country. That is longer term, but I take those philosophic issues and blend them into political action to put pressure on the politicians to stand for principle.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, folks.